The champagne flute shattered first. Then Kong's knees buckled, and 200 pounds of Seoul's most feared man collapsed between Gucci and Prada like a puppet with severed strings. Shoppers scattered. His girlfriend Yun screamed, but her feet stayed planted 3 feet away, manicured hands hovering near her mouth in a pose that looked more staged than shocked. But Amanda, a black woman clutching discount shopping bags, didn't hesitate. She dropped everything and ran toward the chaos while everyone else ran away. Her hands were already moving before she reached him, before his bodyguards could block her path, before logic could remind her that touching a Korean mafia boss without permission was a death sentence. His lips were turning blue. She had maybe 90 seconds. Move, Amanda commanded, her voice cutting through the panic with surgical precision. The lead bodyguard's hand went to his weapon, but something in her eyes made him pause. She was already tilting Kong's head back, checking his airway, her fingers finding his pulse point with the confidence of someone who'd done this before. Too many times before. He's not breathing properly. Somebody call an ambulance now. She positioned her hands on his chest, but not for CPR. Instead, she pressed 2 fingers beneath his ribs in a specific sequence, a technique that made the nearest bodyguard's eyes widen. "Where did you learn that?" he whispered in Korean. Amanda didn't answer. She was counting, pressing, waiting. Kong's chest spasmed once, twice. Then his breathing shifted, ragged but present. Yun finally moved closer, her designer heels clicking against marble. "Get away from him. Who do you think you are?" Amanda's eyes never left Kong's face. "Someone who knows what I'm doing. Which is more than I can say for you." The bodyguards shifted, uncertain. In their world, disrespect meant blood. But this woman had just done what none of them could. She'd brought their boss back from the edge while his girlfriend stood frozen like a frightened ornament. Kong's eyes fluttered open, unfocused and afraid. His hand reached up, grasping blindly, and found Amanda's wrist. His grip was weak but desperate. "Don't let go," he managed to whisper in English, his voice broken. "Please don't let go." Sirens wailed in the distance. Yun's face twisted into something ugly beneath her perfect makeup. And Amanda felt the weight of every eye in that mall pressing down on her, wondering the same thing the bodyguard had asked. Where does a random black woman learn a technique that only appears in classified military medical training and elite protection protocols? The kind of technique that Kong's late sister used to practice until the family made her disappear. But here's where everything you think you know gets shattered like that champagne glass. Because Amanda isn't random. And she wasn't supposed to be in Seoul today. She was supposed to be 3,000 miles away, hiding from the same family whose dying heir was now clutching her hand like she was his last prayer. Welcome to True Soul Stories, where we dive deep into stories that'll keep you up at night. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because trust me, you're going to want to see how this ends. And if you're already part of the family, drop a comment and let me know if you saw that twist coming. Now let's get into what happened next. The paramedics arrived in a chaos of flashing lights and rapid Korean that Amanda only half understood. But she understood enough. Understood the way they looked at her hands still pressed against Kong's chest. Understood the suspicion in their eyes that said foreign woman, black woman, what did you do to him? I stabilized him, she said in careful Korean, her accent decent but marked. He had a vasovagal episode complicated by what I think is an underlying cardiac condition. His airway was compromised. I used the Erickson maneuver to restore proper breathing. The lead paramedic froze mid-reach for his equipment. The Erickson maneuver? That's not standard protocol. Where did you? Does it matter? Amanda cut him off. He's breathing. Check his vitals. They did. And everything she'd said was correct, which only made them look at her with more suspicion, more questions forming behind their professional masks. Yun pushed forward, tears streaming down her face now, her voice rising in pitch. "My fiancé, my poor darling. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do." She reached for Kong's hand, the one still wrapped around Amanda's wrist. Kong's grip tightened on Amanda. His eyes, clearer now, found hers. "Stay," he whispered. Just that one word, but it carried the weight of a command even in his weakened state. The bodyguards heard it. They exchanged glances, then the lead one, a man with a scar bisecting his left eyebrow, gave Amanda a subtle nod. Permission. Protection. Yun's tears stopped like someone had flipped a switch. For just a moment, her face went blank, calculating. Then the mask slammed back into place, and she was sobbing again, but Amanda had seen it. That flash of cold rage behind the performance. "Sir, we need to transport him immediately," the paramedic said. Is she family? Kong started, then coughed, his body spasming. Amanda's hand moved to his shoulder, steadying him, and the cough subsided. He looked at her again with something like wonder. She's necessary. Not family. Not friend. Necessary. The word hung in the air like a threat and a promise. They loaded Kong onto the stretcher. Yun climbed into the ambulance without asking, positioning herself at his side, but Kong's eyes tracked Amanda as the bodyguards gently but firmly guided her toward a black SUV. You ride with us, Scar said in English. Boss wants you close. I should go home, Amanda said, but her feet were already moving toward the vehicle. I have work tomorrow I can't get involved in. Too late. Scar opened the door. His eyes weren't unkind, just realistic. You saved his life using a technique that's been classified by 3 governments. You spoke to him in a way that should have gotten you killed. And he held your hand like you were his last piece of solid ground. He gestured to the interior. You're already involved. Question is whether you're smart enough to see it through. Amanda climbed in. The leather seats smelled like expensive cologne and gun oil. 2 other guards sat across from her, watching with the blank intensity of men paid to notice everything and feel nothing. The SUV pulled out behind the ambulance, and Seoul's nighttime traffic parted for them like water around a shark. The technique, Scar said from the front seat. The Erickson maneuver. Only 12 people in South Korea know it. 3 are dead. 4 are in the military. 2 work for the government. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror. The last 3 were taught by someone outside official channels. By someone who learned it in America and brought it back. Amanda said nothing, but her hands tightened in her lap. Kong's sister, Scar continued, his voice softer now. She knew it. She used to practice on training dummies in the basement of the family compound. Said it might save someone's life one day. He paused. She was right. I never met his sister, Amanda said carefully. Didn't say you did. Scar's eyes held hers in the mirror. But you learned it from someone. And there aren't many someones who could teach it. The hospital rose up before them, a gleaming tower of glass and steel that screamed money and privilege. They bypassed the emergency entrance entirely, pulling into a private garage where doctors were already waiting. Here's where it gets crazy, because when they wheeled Kong through those doors, the head physician took one look at his chart, at the paramedic's notes, and his face went carefully blank. Who stabilized him? The doctor asked. Scar pointed to Amanda. The doctor's eyes narrowed. Then he did something strange. He bowed to her, just slightly, the kind of bow that acknowledged something unspoken. Thank you, he said in English. You may have bought him time he doesn't have. What does that mean? Yun's voice cracked through the moment like a whip. She'd appeared from somewhere, her face blotchy and swollen now, playing the devastated girlfriend to perfection. What do you mean, time he doesn't have? Is he dying? Tell me right now. The doctor's face became a professional mask. Let's discuss this in my office. Family only. I'm his fiancé, Yun said immediately. And I'm his head of security, Scar added. I have medical power of attorney in case he's incapacitated. She stays. He pointed to Amanda. I'm not family, Amanda protested, but Scar's hand on her elbow was gentle and immovable. Boss's orders, he said quietly. Necessary, remember? They filed into a private office that looked more like a luxury hotel suite than a hospital room. The doctor closed the door, pulled out a thick medical file, and dropped it on the desk with a heavy thud. Your fiancé, he said to Yun, has been terminal for 6 months. The world tilted. Yun's hand flew to her mouth, but Amanda was watching her eyes. Watching the way they didn't widen with shock. Watching the way her pupils didn't dilate with surprise. Watching the micro-expression that flashed across her face before the grief mask dropped. She already knew. Terminal. Yun's voice trembled perfectly. But he's been fine. He's been working. We've been planning the wedding. He has a rare degenerative cardiac condition, the doctor continued. Genetic. Untreatable in its advanced stages. We've been managing it with medication and monitoring, keeping him comfortable. But today's episode suggests we're entering the final phase. He paused. I'm sorry, but realistically, he has weeks. Perhaps a month if we're fortunate. Scar's face had gone gray. The other guards stood frozen, processing the death of the man they'd sworn to protect. But Yun's face was doing something else entirely. Something that made Amanda's stomach turn. She was calculating. Weeks, Yun repeated softly. Then louder, with building hysteria. Weeks? We were supposed to get married next month. We were supposed to have a life together. She turned to Scar, her eyes wild and wet. We need to move the wedding up. Immediately. I need to be his wife before. Her voice broke convincingly. I need to be with him legally. For medical decisions. For everything. He has family for that, Scar said carefully. His family abandoned him. Yun's voice rose. I'm the one who's been here. I'm the one who loves him. We need to get married this week. Tomorrow, if possible. Amanda watched this performance and felt ice crystallize in her veins. Because she'd seen this before. Different country, different hospital, different dying man. But the same desperate push for legal ties. The same calculated grief that smelled more like inheritance than love. The wedding can wait, Amanda heard herself say. He needs treatment, not stress. Yun's head snapped toward her like a predator spotting prey. I'm sorry, who are you exactly? His nurse? His doctor? Or just some random woman who happened to be at the mall? Someone who saved his life, Scar said quietly, and there was warning in his voice. And I'm grateful, Yun said, her tone going sugary and poisonous at once. Truly. But this is family business now. You can go. We'll make sure you're compensated for your help. She was trying to buy Amanda off. Trying to make her disappear like a problem solved with money. Amanda should have left. Should have walked out those doors and back to her small apartment in Itaewon and her anonymous life teaching English to bored teenagers. Should have stayed hidden like she'd been doing for 3 years. But Kong's voice whispered in her memory, don't let go. And underneath that, another voice, one she'd tried to forget. A woman's voice, Korean and kind and fierce, saying the words that had changed Amanda's life. If something happens to me, promise you'll watch over him. Promise me. She'd made that promise. And then Kong's sister had vanished, erased by the family for the crime of wanting to choose her own life. Amanda had thought she'd failed. Thought running to America, dropping out of nursing school, hiding from the life she'd almost had meant breaking her promise. But here he was, dying. And his girlfriend was already measuring him for a coffin while calculating her inheritance. I'd like to see him, Amanda said. Before I go. Absolutely not. Yun started, but Scar was already moving toward the door. Boss asked for her, he said simply. That's the end of it. Yun's face did something ugly, just for a second. Then she smiled, cold and sharp. Of course. How silly of me. You must want to make sure your good deed is appreciated. She linked her arm through Amanda's with false warmth, her nails digging in just enough to hurt. Let's go see him together. They walked through sterile hallways that smelled like antiseptic and despair. Past rooms full of the dying and the recovering. Past nurses who bowed to Scar without making eye contact. Past the ordinary world into the private wing where Korea's elite came to suffer behind closed doors. Kong's room was at the end. 2 guards stood outside, straightening when they saw Scar approach. He's awake, one said, asking for the woman from the mall. Yun's nails dug deeper into Amanda's arm. The door opened, and there he was, pale against white sheets, oxygen tube running to his nose, monitors beeping a steady rhythm that could stop at any moment. His eyes were closed, his face drawn with pain, his body looking smaller somehow, less dangerous, more human. Then his eyes opened, found Amanda, and something in them shifted, softened, broke open. You came, he whispered. I came, Amanda said, and felt Yun's nails draw blood. But wait, because this is where the night took a turn nobody saw coming. A nurse entered behind them, young and nervous, holding a tray of medications. She approached Kong's floor, preparing to inject something into the line. Amanda's training kicked in before her brain could catch up. She was across the room in 3 strides, her hand catching the nurse's wrist before the plunger could descend. What is that? Amanda demanded. The nurse's eyes went wide. His medication. The doctor prescribed. What medication exactly? I don't have to explain myself to you. Let go of me. Amanda looked at the syringe, at the clear liquid inside, at the label that said one thing while her instincts screamed another. She'd seen this drug before. Seen what it did to patients with cardiac conditions. Seen how it accelerated the end while looking like natural progression. Don't give him that, Amanda said quietly. Please. It'll kill him faster. The room went silent. Scar moved closer, his hand near his weapon. Yun's face cycled through shock to outrage to something calculating. How dare you, Yun breathed. How dare you come in here and accuse his medical team of... I'm not accusing anyone, Amanda said, still holding the nurse's wrist. I'm saying that drug, in combination with his condition, will accelerate cardiac deterioration. It's contraindicated for his specific genetic markers. You can't possibly know his genetic markers, the nurse said, but her voice wavered. Can't I? Amanda met her eyes. Can't I know that he has the K417 mutation? That he's allergic to beta blockers? That his sister had the same condition and died in a hospital just like this one after receiving medication just like that? The air left the room. Kong's hand shot out from the bed, grabbing Amanda's arm with surprising strength. My sister, he rasped. How do you know about my sister? But Amanda couldn't answer, because Yun was screaming now, calling for security, demanding Amanda be arrested for assault and interference. The nurse had dropped the syringe, backing away with her hands up. Scar was on his phone, speaking rapid Korean to someone who was probably a lawyer. And the monitors were beeping faster, Kong's heart rate spiking with stress. Everyone out, Amanda said with sudden authority that surprised even her. Now, before you kill him with all this chaos. You don't give orders here, Yun snarled. I do. Kong's voice cut through everything, weak but absolute. Everyone out. Except her. His eyes locked on Amanda. I need to understand. I need to know how you know what only my family knows. What only my sister knew. Yun looked like she wanted to commit murder. But she smiled instead, touched Kong's face with gentle fingers, and whispered, Of course, my love. I'll be right outside. Just call if you need me. She shot Amanda a look that promised retribution, then swept out with the nurse trailing behind her. Scar lingered at the door. Want me to stay, boss? No. Kong's eyes never left Amanda. But check that medication. All of it. And find out who prescribed it. Scar nodded and left, closing the door with a soft click that sounded like a cell closing. They were alone. Kong studied Amanda with the intensity of a man who'd spent his life reading people for survival. You knew my sister, he said. Not a question. Yes. She's supposed to be dead. I know. But you don't think she is. Amanda's breath caught. I don't know what she is. I just know she made me promise something. And I'm trying to keep it. Kong's hand was still on her arm, and now his fingers traced a pattern there, a specific rhythm that made Amanda's eyes widen. It was the same pattern his sister used to tap when she was thinking. The same unconscious gesture Amanda had seen 1,000 times in their small dorm room in Boston, when they'd stayed up studying anatomy and dreaming about saving lives. She taught you, Kong whispered. She taught you everything. Almost everything. Why didn't you tell me at the mall? Why the pretense? Because I wasn't supposed to be here. Because I promised her I'd stay away from your world. Because, Amanda's voice cracked. Because she told me if I ever came back, if I ever contacted your family, they'd kill me for knowing what I know about her. What do you know? Amanda looked at this dying man, this dangerous man, this man whose sister had been her best friend and savior, and the reason she'd learned to be strong. And she made a choice. I know she didn't run away because she was scared, Amanda said quietly. I know she ran because she was pregnant. And I know your family would rather kill her than let her ruin their plans with an air they couldn't control. The monitor's beeping stuttered. Kong's face went white, then gray. His hand fell away from Amanda's arm. Pregnant, he repeated. She was pregnant. 10 weeks when she left school. She made me swear I'd never tell your family. Said it would get both of us killed. Amanda sat on the edge of his bed, professional distance forgotten. She loved you, though. Talked about you all the time. Called you her baby brother, even though you were only 2 years younger. Said you were the only good thing about that family. Where is she? Kong's voice broke. Where's my sister? I don't know. She sent me one message 3 years ago. Said she was safe. Said to forget her. Said, Amanda swallowed hard. Said if you ever got sick, if you ever needed someone, I should break my promise and come back. She knew, Kong breathed. She knew I'd get sick. She had the same condition. She was managing it. Last I heard, she was doing okay. But she knew it was genetic. Knew you'd need someone who understood. Amanda touched his hand carefully. I came back 6 months ago. Got a job teaching English. Kept my distance. But I watched. Made sure you were still breathing. And when I saw you collapse today, you couldn't stay away. No. Kong closed his eyes, processing everything, his brilliant criminal mind working through layers of deception and truth. When he opened them again, there was something new there. Something like hope mixed with grief mixed with rage. Yun doesn't know, he said. About my sister. About you. About any of it. No. Good. His hand found Amanda's again, and this time his grip was stronger, purposeful. Keep it that way. Let her think you're nobody. Let everyone think that. His eyes bored into hers. But don't leave. I need you. Kong, I can't. I'm dying, he said flatly. And apparently someone is trying to speed it along. And my girlfriend is more interested in wedding dates than keeping me alive. And the only person in this whole city who seems to actually give a damn whether I survive the night is a woman who learned medicine from my vanished sister. His jaw clenched. So yes, you can. You will. Because she asked you to. And because I'm asking you to. It wasn't a request. It was a command from a man used to being obeyed. But it was also a plea from a brother who'd just learned his sister might still be alive. Amanda should have said no. Should have run. Should have gotten on the first plane back to anywhere else. Instead, she said, "Your sister taught me one more thing. She taught me that sometimes you save people not because it's safe, but because it's right." Kong's smile was small and sad and grateful. She always was better than the rest of us. A knock at the door interrupted them. Scar entered without waiting for permission, his face grim. "The medication," he said. "It was prescribed by Dr. Chun, the family physician. But here's the thing, boss. He's been off duty for 3 days. Someone forged his signature on the order. Who benefits from me dying fast?" Kong asked, though they all knew the answer. "Your fiancée inherits everything if she's legally married to you before you die. Without family to contest, without a will that says otherwise, she gets it all." Scar's eyes cut to Amanda. "But only if she's your wife." "Cancel the wedding," Kong said immediately. "Already moved up," Scar said quietly. "She filed an emergency petition this evening. Some judge on her father's payroll signed off. You're getting married in 3 days whether you want to or not. Like hell I am. You're not strong enough to fight it legally, boss. And she knows it." Scar pulled out his phone, showed them something on the screen. "She's already leaked it to the press. Dying Mafia boss to wed devoted girlfriend in tragic ceremony. It's everywhere. Backing out now makes you look like you're abandoning her." Kong's hand slammed against the bed rail, making the monitors shriek. "That manipulative." "Easy," Amanda said, her nurse training kicking in. "Your heart can't handle the stress. We need to think clearly." 3 days, Kong said. "I have 3 days to figure out how to not die, not get married, and not get murdered by my own medication." He looked at Amanda. "You really learned from the best, didn't you? Because this is exactly the kind of impossible situation my sister loved to solve. She usually had more time to work with. Then we'll have to be faster." Kong pressed the call button. When a different nurse appeared, he said, "I want a private night nurse. Someone not from this hospital. Someone I can trust." He looked at Scar. "Make it happen." "Boss, she's not certified." "She's not. She knows more than anyone else in this building. And she's not trying to kill me. That's all the qualification I need." Kong's eyes met Amanda's. "If you're going to keep your promise to my sister, then keep it. Don't let me die in 3 days so that woman can collect her prize." Amanda felt the weight of the choice settling on her shoulders. Felt the danger of it, the impossibility of it, the sheer insanity of agreeing to spend 3 days keeping a mafia boss alive while his girlfriend planned a wedding that was really a funeral. But she also felt her best friend's voice in her memory. "Take care of him. Promise me." "Okay," Amanda said. "But we do this my way. No more mystery medications. No visitors I don't approve. And if your heart stops, I'm calling real doctors, not handling it alone. Deal?" Kong's smile was sharp despite his weakness. "Welcome to my world, Amanda. Try not to get killed." "Same to you," she said, and despite everything, they both almost laughed. The door burst open. Yun swept in with a garment bag over her arm and a smile on her face that didn't reach her eyes. "Good news, my love," she sang out. "I've arranged everything. The wedding will be here, in the hospital chapel. Intimate, beautiful, perfect." Her eyes slid to Amanda with barely concealed venom. "I'm sure your nurse will understand she's not invited to family events." Kong's hand tightened on Amanda's. "Actually," he said slowly, "I've decided I need round-the-clock medical supervision. Amanda will be staying in this room for the next 72 hours. Yun's mask cracked. "What?" "Doctor's orders," Amanda said sweetly. "Can't risk another episode, can we? Especially not before your special day." The look Yun gave Amanda could have melted steel. But she painted on her smile, kissed Kong's forehead with lips like ice, and whispered loud enough for Amanda to hear, "Don't worry, darling. Soon everything will be exactly as it should be." When she left, the temperature in the room seemed to rise 10 degrees. "She's going to kill you," Amanda said flatly. "Probably," Kong agreed. "Good thing I have someone who knows how to stop her. I'm not a bodyguard. I'm barely a nurse. You're something my sister trusted. That makes you more valuable than all the bodyguards and nurses in Seoul combined." He settled back against his pillows, exhaustion finally overtaking him. "Besides, you're already in it now. Might as well see it through." Amanda looked at this dying criminal who looked nothing like his dangerous reputation in this moment. Just a scared young man who'd learned his sister might still be breathing and his girlfriend might be planning murder. and she realized Kong's sister had known exactly what she was doing when she sent Amanda back. Because sometimes the most dangerous people need the most protecting. And sometimes a promise is worth more than safety. The night stretched ahead, full of beeping monitors and whispered conversations, and the growing certainty that 72 hours might not be enough time to solve a murder that hadn't happened yet. But as Amanda settled into the chair beside Kong's bed, watching his breathing even out into sleep, she felt something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Purpose, even if it killed her. And judging by the way Yun had looked at her, it probably would. The night passed in careful vigilance. Amanda checked every medication, questioned every nurse, monitored every change in Kong's vitals with the paranoia of someone who knew death could come wearing a hospital uniform and a friendly smile. Scar brought her coffee at 2 a.m., strong and black. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. "Whatever promise you made, whatever debt you think you owe, it's not worth your life. Isn't it?" Amanda took the coffee gratefully. "Your boss's sister pulled me out of a pretty dark place. Gave me purpose when I had none. Taught me I could be more than what the world expected." She sipped the bitter liquid. "I owe her everything, including this." Scar studied her for a long moment. "She talked about you once. Years ago, before she left. Said she had a friend who was going to change the world. Said you had hands that could heal anything." He paused. "She'd be glad you came back. You knew her?" "I was assigned to protect her. Failed pretty spectacularly at that." His scarred face tightened. "When she ran, the family wanted me dead. Kong saved my life. Said his sister would have wanted me to live. That she'd forgive my failure even if they wouldn't. So we're both here because of her. Seems that way." Scar glanced at Kong's sleeping form. "He's a good man, despite what the world thinks. Inherited his father's empire, but not his cruelty. His sister raised him more than anyone else did. Made him believe in things like honor and mercy. Dangerous things in your world. Fatal things," Scar agreed. "Which is why people like Yun smell weakness." He pulled out his phone, showed Amanda a series of texts. "She's been messaging the family lawyer all night. Pushing papers through. Emergency power of attorney. Expedited will changes. Everything designed to make her untouchable once he's gone. Can we stop her legally? Not in 3 days. And not while he's too weak to fight." Scar pocketed his phone. "Which means we keep him alive and keep her away. However necessary." The way he said, "however necessary," suggested solutions that didn't involve courtrooms. "No killing," Amanda said firmly. "We're trying to prevent death, not cause it. Even if she's trying to cause his? Even then. Because that's what separates us from people like her." Amanda set down her coffee cup. "Besides, his sister taught me something else. She said the best revenge against people who want you dead is living well and watching them fail." Scar's scarred face cracked into something like a smile. She really was the best of them, wasn't she? She really was. Kong stirred then, his eyes opening in the dim light. "Are you two bonding over my sister's wisdom while I'm trying to sleep?" "Yes," Amanda said. "Also making sure you don't stop breathing. Which you're welcome for, by the way." Kong's laugh was weak but genuine. "How's my heart?" "Stable. For now." Amanda checked his monitors, noting the readings. "But you need rest. Real rest. Not this half-sleep where you're listening to everything we say. I'm saying you need to stop being a mafia boss and start being a patient. At least for a few months." Kong snorted. "My family will love that. Showing weakness is basically begging for a coup." "Then fake it," Amanda said. "Play dying until you're actually recovering. Let them fight over your corpse while you get stronger in secret. That's actually not a terrible plan." Kong looked thoughtful. "But it requires Yun believing I'm dying on schedule. And you being here undermines that. So we make me look incompetent. Make it seem like I'm failing to keep you alive. Let her think she's winning." Amanda's mind was working now, falling into the strategic thinking Kong's sister had taught her. "We stage setbacks. Make you look worse than you are. And when she tries to accelerate things, we catch her in the act. With evidence even my family can't ignore," Kong added. "I like it. Dangerous. Probably going to get us both killed, but I like it." "Story of my life lately," Amanda muttered. A scream cut through the quiet hospital. Then another. Scar was out the door before Amanda could move, his weapon drawn. Kong tried to sit up, and Amanda pushed him back down. "Stay," she commanded. "Whatever's happening out there, you're in no condition to help. It could be an attack. Which is why you need to stay alive and hidden, not run into gunfire." Scar's voice crackled over the radio clipped to Kong's bed rail. "It's okay, boss. Just a patient in distress. But you should know, Miss Yun was in the medication storage room when it happened. Alone. Amanda and Kong's eyes met. She's tampering with something, Amanda said. We're taking something. Kong's jaw clenched. Scar, lock down that room. I want inventory of every medication. Now. On it. 20 minutes later, Scar returned with a grim expression and a tablet showing inventory logs. 3 vials of medication missing, he said. All cardiac medications that would be contraindicated for your condition. Let me guess, Kong said. The same ones prescribed earlier? Worse. These are the kind that cause immediate cardiac arrest in patients with K417 mutation. Look natural. Undetectable unless you're looking for them specifically. Scar's expression darkened. She's done her homework. Or someone's done it for her, Amanda said. These aren't medications a normal person would know about. She's got help. The family doctor, Kong realized. Dr. Chun. He knew about my mutation. About my sister's death. His eyes widened. He's been on Yun's payroll this whole time. Which means she's been planning this for months, Amanda said. Maybe longer. Since before you got really sick. The implications hung heavy in the air. Yun hadn't just seized an opportunity. She'd been engineering Kong's death from the beginning, waiting for nature to give her the cover she needed. I'm going to kill her, Kong said flatly. No, you're not, Amanda said. Because that's what she wants. For you to do something stupid and violent that justifies whatever final move she's planning. She stood, pacing. We need proof. Real proof. The kind that holds up in court and in your family's brutal version of justice. How? We let her try. Amanda's face was set. We let her try to give you that medication. But we switch it first. Replace it with something harmless. And we record everything. You want to use me as bait. I want to catch her in the act of attempting murder. It's the only way your family will believe she's a threat. Kong considered this, then nodded slowly. Do it. But if something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. Amanda promised with more confidence than she felt. Your sister taught me to always have a backup plan. And a backup to the backup. What's the backup? Trust me, you don't want to know. It involves things that aren't strictly legal. Kong actually laughed. Oh, I definitely want to know now. But Amanda shook her head. Later, after we survive the next 3 days. She checked his vitals again, adjusting his 4. Right now, you need to sleep. Real sleep. Because tomorrow we start making you look sicker than you are. And that requires you actually being rested enough to fake weakness convincingly. You're bossy, Kong observed. Your sister was Bozier. You should have heard her during study sessions. I wish I had. Kong's voice went soft. Tell me about her. About your time together. I need to remember she was more than just the family's disappointment. So Amanda did. She told him about late nights in their shared dorm room. About his sister's fierce intelligence and fiercer compassion. About how she'd taken a scholarship student from a rough neighborhood in Chicago and made her believe she could be a nurse, could be a healer, could be someone who mattered. She told him about the day his sister got the positive pregnancy test. About the fear and joy warring in her face. About how she'd said, I'm going to keep this baby even if it kills me. Even if my family tries to stop me. And Amanda told him about the last time she'd seen his sister, 3 years ago, when she'd pressed a piece of paper into Amanda's hand with a single address on it, and said, if he ever needs you, go to Seoul. Watch over him. He's the only good thing I'm leaving behind. By the time she finished, Kong's face was wet with silent tears. She knew she might not make it, he said. Knew the baby and the condition might be too much. So she made sure I'd have someone. She made sure you'd have a chance, Amanda corrected. What you do with it is up to you. Kong wiped his face, and when he looked at Amanda again, there was steel behind the grief. Then I'm going to do what she'd want. I'm going to survive. I'm going to stop Yun. And I'm going to find my sister. In that order? Simultaneously if possible. Ambitious. I'm a mafia boss. Ambition is kind of the job description. Amanda smiled despite everything. Your sister said the same thing. Right before she told me ambition without compassion is just cruelty with a plan. She would know. She watched our father her whole life. Kong settled back into his pillows, exhaustion finally winning. Don't let me die before I can find her, Amanda. That's all I ask. I won't, Amanda promised. Even if I have to drag you back from death myself. Somehow I believe you could. Sleep took him then, deep and dreamless and necessary. Amanda watched his chest rise and fall, monitored by machines that turned life into numbers and graphs, and wondered what Kong's sister would think of all this. Probably laugh, Amanda decided. She'd always loved impossible situations. The next 2 days were a carefully choreographed dance of deception. Amanda made Kong look weaker, paler, more fragile. They staged episodes where his breathing would labor, where his heart would skip rhythms, where death seemed to hover just behind the expensive curtains. And Yun ate it up. She was there constantly now, playing the devoted fiancée, tears always ready, grief performed perfectly. But Amanda watched her eyes, watched them calculate, watched them sharpen with satisfaction every time Kong seemed worse. Soon, my love, Yun would whisper, thinking Amanda couldn't hear. Soon you'll be at peace. And I'll make sure your empire is in good hands. The wedding was planned for tomorrow. A priest had been arranged, witnesses gathered, paperwork prepared. Yun had even picked out her dress, black for mourning she'd pretend wasn't premature. But tonight was when she'd make her move. Amanda could feel it in the air, in the way Yun's eyes kept darting to Kong's fore, in the way her hand would hover near his medications. Scar had set up hidden cameras. Amanda had switched the medications, replacing Yun's stolen vials with harmless saline and keeping the real poisons locked away as evidence. Everything was ready. They just had to wait for Yun to act. Midnight came and went. Amanda dozed in her chair, or pretended to, keeping her eyes slitted enough to see. Kong breathed steadily in his bed, actually sleeping for once, trusting Amanda to keep watch. At 2 a.m., the door opened silently. Yun slipped in wearing dark clothes, her perfect makeup gone, her face bare and sharp and hungry. She moved with practiced quiet toward Kong's fore, pulling something from her pocket. A syringe. Amanda's heart hammered, but she kept still, kept watching, letting Yun get close enough that the cameras would capture everything. Yun uncapped the syringe, positioned it near the injection port, and whispered, "Thank you for being such an easy mark, darling. Your sister was much harder to kill." Everything stopped. His sister was much harder to kill. Amanda's eyes flew open. Kong's did too. He'd been awake, listening, waiting. "What did you say?" Kong's voice cut through the darkness like a blade. Yun spun, the syringe still in her hand, shock and rage warring on her face. "You're supposed to be asleep. What did you say about my sister?" Kong sat up despite Amanda's protests, his eyes burning with something beyond pain or exhaustion. "What did you do?" And here's where everything you thought you knew about this story shatters completely. Because Yun smiled. Actually smiled, cold and satisfied and cruel. "You really didn't know?" She laughed. "Your precious family didn't tell you? Your sister didn't just run away, you stupid man. She tried to disappear with her little secret." Yun's smile widened. "But your family found her, and they sent me to fix the problem." The room temperature plummeted. "You killed her," Kong breathed. "I made it look like a cardiac episode during childbirth. Tragic. Unavoidable. Her weak heart just couldn't handle the stress." Yun twirled the syringe, almost playfully. "And now I'm going to do the same to you. Collect my payment twice over. Your family was very generous about the first job. I expect they'll be even more grateful when I handle the second." Amanda was already moving, but Yun was faster. She lunged for Kong, syringe aimed at his foreport. But Kong was faster still. His hand shot out, catching Yun's wrist with surprising strength. And for a moment they struggled, the syringe hovering inches from his lifeline. "The baby," Kong gritted out. "What happened to the baby? Do you really want to die knowing?" Yun hissed, pushing against his grip. "Tell me. Your family has it. Locked up somewhere. Insurance against your sister in case she survived. Insurance against you in case you got difficult." Yun's eyes gleamed. A weapon, waiting to be used. Amanda's hand found the call button. Alarms shrieked. Lights blazed. And suddenly the room was full of guards, of nurses, of chaos. But through it all, Kong held Yun's wrist, held her there as Scar ripped the syringe away and threw Yun against the wall with enough force to crack plaster. "Where?" Kong demanded, his voice raw. "Where is my sister's child?" Yun laughed, even as guards pinned her arms. "Why would I tell you? I'm dead anyway. Might as well take that secret with me." But Scar was already on his phone, pulling strings, calling in favors. "We'll find out," he promised Kong. "We have her phone, her files, everything. If the child exists, we'll find it." Kong slumped back against his pillows, shaking not from weakness, but from rage so pure it burned through exhaustion. His eyes found Amanda's. "My sister," he said. "She's really dead?" "I don't know," Amanda said honestly. "But we're going to find out. And we're going to find that child." We, Amanda confirmed. "Because that's what she'd want. That's what I promised." Police arrived. Family arrived. Lawyers arrived. The hospital room became a crime scene. Everything photographed and documented and turned into evidence against Yun, who smiled through it all like she knew something they didn't. As they led her away in handcuffs, she called back to Kong. You think you've won? You think stopping me changes anything? Your family wanted you dead, you fool. I'm just the weapon they chose. There'll be others. The door closed on her voice, but the truth lingered. Kong looked at Amanda, at Scar, at the cameras that had captured everything. If my family wants me dead, he said quietly, then I'm going to make sure I live long enough to burn their empire to ash. Starting with finding out what they did with my sister's child. Boss, Scar said carefully, you're still dying. Not fast enough, apparently. Kong's smile was grim. Amanda, how long can you keep me alive if I actually rest and stop letting people poison me? 6 months. Maybe more with proper care. That's enough time. Kong's eyes were hard now, calculating, the criminal mastermind emerging from behind the dying man's mask. Enough time to find the child. Enough time to find out if my sister's really dead or if that's another lie. His gaze pinned Amanda. Enough time to keep my promise to her, even if she can't keep hers to me. What promise? That I'd protect what she loved. Kong's hand found Amanda's. She loved that child. And apparently, she loved you. Trusted you. His grip tightened. So I'm trusting you too. Stay. Help me dismantle my family from the inside. Help me find the truth. Amanda should have said no. Should have run. Should have gone back to her safe, anonymous life teaching English and pretending she'd never known a woman fierce enough to defy a criminal empire. But Kong's sister's voice whispered in her memory one more time. Take care of him. Promise me. And Amanda realized that promise had never had an expiration date. Okay, she said. But we're doing this smart. No rushing in. No getting yourself killed before we find answers. Deal. And you're following my medical advice. All of it. Including the vegetables. Kong actually smiled. You drive a hard bargain. I learned from your sister. Of course you did. The dawn broke over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Kong's wedding day, that would never happen. His death day, that had been postponed by truth and treason and a black woman who'd kept a promise she'd made 3 years ago. Somewhere in the city, a child waited, unknown and hidden, the last piece of Kong's sister walking around with her blood and her stubborn refusal to die quietly. And somewhere, maybe, hopefully, impossibly, Kong's sister herself might still be breathing, might still be fighting, might still be waiting for her brother to find her. But that's a story for another time. Because right now, as Amanda checked Kong's vitals and found them stronger than they'd been in weeks, as Scar cataloged evidence that would bring down half the family, as the morning news reported a foiled murder and a scandalous betrayal, one thing became clear. This wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. The beginning of a war between a dying mafia boss and the family that wanted him dead. The beginning of a search for a child who shouldn't exist. The beginning of a truth that could destroy an empire or save it. And at the center of it all, 2 people bound by a promise to a woman who defied her world and paid the price. If Kong's family thought they could kill their way to peace, they were about to learn what his sister had always known. Some people refuse to die quietly. Some promises can't be broken. And some women, when pushed, push back hard enough to move mountains. Amanda smiled at Kong, at this complicated, dangerous, dying man who'd just declared war on his own blood. Your sister would be proud, she said. She'd probably say we're idiots. That too. But she'd help anyway. She always did. Outside the hospital room, Scar fielded calls from the family, spinning stories, buying time. Inside, Kong rested while Amanda planned their next move, their impossible search, their war against the people who'd taken everything. And somewhere in Seoul, a child played or cried or laughed, unaware that their existence was about to change everything. The monitors beeped steady rhythms. The sun climbed higher. And Amanda realized that in trying to keep one promise, she'd stepped into a story bigger and more dangerous than she'd ever imagined. But here's the thing about impossible promises. Sometimes they're the only ones worth keeping. Even if they kill you. Especially if they kill you. If you made it this far, you absolute legend, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button so hard it breaks. Then drop a comment telling me if you think Kong's sister is really dead or if she's out there somewhere waiting to blow our minds. And subscribe. Because trust me, part 2 is going to reveal secrets that'll make everything you just watched look like the prologue. We're going to find that child. We're going to find the sister. And we're going to watch Kong burn his family's empire to the ground. But I can't make it without you. So subscribe, comment your theories, and let's solve this mystery together. See you in